Hey, brothers and sisters. I just wanted to see if anyone else out here can relate to the story that I have. Okay, 2016. Well, actually, the end of 2015. The end of 2015. Excuse me. I remember because I couldn't get God's words right. Like I couldn't understand them. So I began to start fasting and praying to the Father for truth. And that was all I did. I kept going, I kept going, and I kept going because I knew something wasn't right. And I always knew I had the Holy Spirit. But at that time, when I would step into certain places, I would get that funny feeling in my stomach. Like you shouldn't be here, basically. And sometimes I ignored it, and sometimes I didn't. But I want to know, like, if there's anybody else that were going through these type of things. So now, 2016, in the middle of 2016, all right, the Lord started talking to me. And I remember him saying to me when I was able to hear him clear, it was like he was speaking inside of me. But I heard every word he said. He was saying, his people are going to perish because of lack of knowledge. Because Satan is stealing his words and using them and turning them around. So he's causing all kinds of confusion. And when he told me that, I didn't quite understand what he was talking about. So as I began to get back into the word, and I remember wherever I looked, like I started, I don't know, I believe I started just looking at words for words, looking them up in Hebrew. And so, you guys, one day I had came out of my room and I didn't know Trump. Like I seen him before, but I didn't know who he was. So as I was on my way into the kitchen to go and get me something to drink, the Holy Spirit pulled me. And when he pulled me, like it was from the pit of my stomach, he pulled me. And it stopped me right in my tracks. And I remember I asked my husband, I said, who is that talking on TV? And you guys, I don't even know why I said this. I said, whoever that is, I'm going to vote for him. And I just kept going. I didn't say anything else. So, anyways, what happened was I began to see things like I had started seeing numbers like in 2015. Yeah, about 2015, but I was scared. I didn't know what those numbers meant because I would see them all the time. And I would say, Lord, if I did something wrong to you, I'm sorry. Father, if I did anything to grieve you, I'm sorry. Holy Spirit, if I did anything to grieve you, I'm sorry. So I would say that. And I would keep seeing those numbers over and over. But in the meantime, when I was driving, I kept seeing the letters AUA. I mean, y'all, I seen it every time I went outside. And I didn't go outside that much back then. So something in my spirit, and I know it had to be the Holy Spirit, he said for me to look it up. And I was like, okay, let me look it up and see what that is. And he was talking about Joshua. And I was like, what? So I had to run to the book and get Joshua. Look up Joshua and stuff like that. And you were talking about the 12 spies. So I was like, Lord, what are you saying? What are you saying? So something in me, my mind, of course, I'm sure. I said, are you trying to tell me I'm a spy or something? And he answered me, yes. He said yes. So I couldn't believe that because I never heard nothing like that. I never heard nothing like that before. So what happened was I ended up driving around and I kept seeing it over and over and over and over again. So I was like, okay, if I am, let me run into that number 555. So I had went and got my daughter something from White Castle, and I had totally forgot all about that, y'all. So as I'm riding down the street, I come up to this light, and something just told me to look in my rearview mirror. So I looked in my rearview mirror, and sure enough, there was that license plate. It said 555. And then someone told me to look over to the left. And when I looked over to the left, and on this real big billboard, the time was 555. And I was just like, Lord, I don't know what that is. Like, what are you trying to tell me? I said, are you trying to tell me I'm a spy? So he told me to look up again. And it was the car on the right hand side of me in front of that other car. And it had 555. So I started laughing. I had to laugh. And I was like, why am I a spy? And the Holy Spirit brought it back to me. Like how I used to act when I was young. I even still do this to this day. Like I don't deal with just anybody. And I don't know why I'm like that. I was like that when I was coming up. You guys, I was always fighting when I was coming up. At 4 years old, I was fighting. Like I had to fight every day. I had to fight somebody every day. I had to defend someone every day. Made it my business. Until I got about 16. The Lord was like, no more. No more. And of course, I'm going to listen to my Father. So anyway, guys, yes, he had let me know that I was Joshua. So if anybody out there have or know who they are, please speak on it or let me know. Because it sounds pretty strange to me right now. All right, you guys, I love you.